So this is Tom from Dog and Thimble, the board game podcast, and I'm Joseph from Good and Basic, and we are going to play... Okay, well, spellings vary. This one is Hnefatafl. Hnefatafl. Viking game it is. I kind of like to think of it as Viking chess.
All right.
Apparently chess took over in like the 1200s, but this was a dominant game in like Scandinavia and kind of like the whole like English, Germanic, French area for hundreds of years. I don't know exactly how long. But so there's two sides. There's the attacker and then there's the escaper. The way the board is set up, if you want to set up the black pieces, they go on each of these four outside things. And then the king, the escaper, goes in the center and he's surrounded by 12 soldiers, battalions. I'm not sure what these are. I kind of like to think of them as battalions.
12 good friends.
Yeah. Very good friends, because a lot of them are going to die so that this guy escapes.
They knew what they were getting into.
Yep. You're just thinking, I love this particular board set because of like the artwork. It's like super Anglo-Saxon, right? Like you could just do it with like little pebbles or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Those nice chunky pieces too.
Yeah. Makes you think of Vikings and stuff. Okay, so there's an escaper and then there's an attacker, right? So the attacker is the dark pieces surrounding, okay, and then the escaper is the guy in the middle who's defending, right?
That would make sense.
And so the goal of the game for the escaper is to get the king onto one of the corners, and then they've escaped the battlefield. There's two ways you can think about it. One is that it's a battlefield, the king is being surrounded, right, and so he has to escape so that he survives, right? Or the other way you could think about it is that he's in his castle, and this is the throne room, and he's being surrounded by assassins. And in fact, in some versions of the game, the center square is actually called the throne. So there's the king on his throne.
Okay.
Right? All the pieces can move in like rooks from chess. So they can move an unlimited number of squares in any straight direction. So they can't move diagonally, but in any straight direction, they can move an unlimited number of clear empty squares.
All right.
Right. So he's here, you can move all the way across, right?
Yep.
The way you capture pieces is by surrounding them on two opposite sides.
Okay.
So captured piece leaves gameplay. This does not count as a capture.
Got it. So you need to flank them.
You need to flank them. The king can be captured. He needs to be surrounded on four sides.
Okay.
The king can participate in capture, so that's a capture piece.
Good to know the king actually does do something.
He's a fully, you can like he's got his sword and his shield, right? Fully capable.
Those aren't just decorative.
No, they are not decorative. Special rules. Normal pieces cannot occupy the corners. Another special rule is that you can capture against these corner pieces.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you move here, he's captured.
Take that one.
Okay.
All right.
You're the defender. The escaper. Okay.
Attacker moves first. And fight!
Okay. All right. Okay. I will go there.
Let's see. Actually, this is going to be... No, I don't want to do that, because then you just move that one forward. That would be incredibly stupid. All right. I will go there.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if I should mention, but that's one of the first moves that my computer app plays against me, too. So apparently you and the computer app both think it's a pretty smart idea.
I'm a learning robot.
All right. I'm going to move up. No, am I going to do that? I'm actually going to... Oh. What am I going to do? I'm going to do that.
Go there.
No, don't hurt me. Saxon Huskarl comes to the rescue.
What I like in this is that if you have a friend, you can't be captured.
Yeah.
It's teaching valuable lessons about friendship and life.
True. Well, I've kind of wondered about that, though, because, like, you'd think if you just surround, like, a huge battalion of soldiers, it's the same thing as surrounding, like, a little battalion of soldiers. But I guess it really is different, right? Because, like, you're like, I have friends.
Yeah.
They'll help fight.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to move to there. Just really overload one side of the board.
I will go ahead and take first blood.
Clever.
Ta-da!
Impressions so far?
I'm liking this. It's really interesting for, especially for an older game. I guess having not had the time to research it really or play it, not wanting to spoil the occasion of playing it for the first time with you guys, I don't know if there's some sort of dominant strategy that's been discovered at any point, but, the fact that just in looking it up, it's not sort of the first thing that comes up on a Google search. It makes me think that this probably is a sort of an unsolved game, and that's probably also helped by the fact that there's a million variations of it.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting. I downloaded an app to try to practice on it, and they like moving pieces here and along these lines. And to me, the instinctive strategy is to move in and like cut off these corners as the attacker. And so I'm just like, I don't know if the computer's smarter than me or if I'm smarter than the computer. I don't know.
We should get AlphaGo in on this.
Okay.
The unbalanced quality of it is probably the most interesting thing to me.
The asymmetric numbers and positions.
Oh, wait. Can I take that back?
Yeah, I'll let you.
Okay, thank you. Just move one closer.
Oh, I forgot a rule. That's not good. It's okay. It's not like there's no position that I can take advantage of it right now. But it might help you. Is you can move into jeopardy without being hurt.
Okay.
So you actually have to like move in and attack someone to take them out.
Okay.
But if you move into that attacked position, you're safe. So he could move right there.
Gotcha.
And be safe until, like, for instance, I could just move away and then
move back. But it takes you a turn to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. I really liked it when you could just kill a king easily.
Well, that's interesting because when I look it up online, they say that the king has the advantage. And I'm like, well, I don't feel that way because I'm really good at the attacker, but I don't know what do you think, Joseph? Because you prefer the escaping position. I mean, do you think that the king has the advantage, or do you think it's balanced, or do you think...
You have to keep in mind, I haven't played this very many times, but it's mostly been as the defender. I really don't know. That having been said, I agree with the internet, so maybe I'm right.
The internet wouldn't lie to you.
Never. Nice, solid pen-in strategy.
Okay.
One of the things I'm also really curious about with this game, with the asymmetric positions, is the fact that, like, in chess everything is perfectly symmetric, right? And here everything is deliberately asymmetric. And I just wonder, I don't know how often in like real combat you have like an exactly symmetric position, right?
Yeah, they're identical. Every army is exactly the same.
Right. Same numbers, same troops, same everything, obviously, right?
I watched a war documentary once. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Well, if you watch the History Channel, it's the same 4 barbarians running through the woods in every episode.
Well, they work for scale.
I think as the attacker, there's sort of 2 strategies you can employ, and one is to protect the corners, and the other is to like try to hem everything in really fast. And I tend to go for like the hemming in everything fast.
Right.
Like I've never tried to protect the corners. Uh-oh. Not good. Okay. That's not good either. I'm gonna call this not good. Okay. All right. Okay. Let us. make a gentle motion towards hemming you in. Please do not go anywhere. I want to give your king a hug with a knife.
The old knife hug.
Oh, shoot.
I'll move into jeopardy.
Dang boy. Another thing I've thought about with this game is about troop movements, because I think one of the hard things about being the king is that it feels like all your pieces are in the way at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't just jump over them or through them or anything, so...
And I actually find the same thing with the attackers. Like, right now, like, I would much prefer that that piece was not there, because if he was out and about, he could do something, but, like, here he's just trapped, and he can't put anyone in jeopardy, so, like...
Yep.
He's not very helpful. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wonder, like, how many times on ancient battlefields, like, there was stuff that was just in the way. Like, you think it's an asset, but it's actually just in the way and, like, stopping you from getting to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let us push somewhere else and see if we can... No, not good.
Yeah, I think I just want to take him.
Not good. That's not good. Okay. Well, I will take someone back. And there will be bloodshed on this battlefield.
Go there.
Oh, shoot. Not good, not good, not good. One of the things I've also noticed with this game is it seems like as the attacker, I always feel like I have the advantage at the beginning, but then, like, as soon as anything goes wrong, everything goes really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting too.
yeah, I'm not sure what it means, but it's interesting. I don't know. Do you know what it means?
Cascading advantages?
Cascading advantages.
Maybe the defender has the advantage cumulatively because they're in a better position. I mean, the person who makes a wall has to protect all points of the wall, but the person who's trying to puncture a wall only has to puncture one spot.
That's true, and I am basically... I mean, my strategy, right, there's two, right? You can either defend the corners, or you can try to hem in the king. And I do the hem in the king strategy, right?
And you have to protect 4 corners perfectly, and if you fail in any... But the king side only has to puncture 1.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the source of the disadvantage, and that's purely numerical.
Well, I think that's also part of the reason why, even though the numbers of pieces are incredibly unbalanced, that's one of the reasons that it can still be a balanced game, is because... what you said, right? If you build a wall, if you're attacking a wall, you only have to puncture it in one place, but the defenders have to defend it along all places. So, like, I have twice as many troops, but I also have to defend everything, because even one puncture anywhere is the end.
Kind of reminds me of the Germans attacking the Maginot Line. The French impenetrable the fortress wall.
You only need to find one hole, right? Look, Belgium!
Belgium was
Was Belgium the hole in the wall?
Belgium was the hole in the wall.
Having lived there...
So this is Belgium right here. This is Russia. This is France. That's Belgium. Actually, this would be France. This would be Russian. I don't know what this is. Spain? Don't attack Russia. The Alps?
It's a bad idea.
Don't attack Russia. Never get involved in a land war in Asia!
Sorry, I only heard attack Russia?
Attack? Okay, let's see.
Hey, you're Napoleon, man.
We all have our bugbears.
You know, kind of like...
Those things are so creepy, by the way, bugbears. The little water creature nasties.
Oh, wait. Are you talking
Well,
about...
I know a bugbear is a creature in D&D.
It is. It's like a giant hairy goblin.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bugbear is... What is it?
Isn't that like the little creature thing that can survive in the vacuum?
That's a
space?
tardigrade.
Tardigrade.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do look like bears that are like smaller than bugs, so bugbear does work for it.
I hope I didn't just invent that. Oh dear.
Okay.
No, if you invented it, that's a good thing.
Oh well, okay. Well, we'll get points for originality then.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll take them.
All right. I am going to see, and this is another interesting thought to me, because like on the one hand I could try to hem you in over here, but that actually doesn't do me any good, right? Like, you know, like mercilessly slaughtering your troops might not be the smartest thing for me to do.
Self-restraint from the Vikings?
What?
Self-restraint from the Vikings?
It was their defining characteristic.
Where did you go?
I moved a piece over here, I think. No, I moved him from here to here. Just plug that little hole in the line.
Move into jeopardy.
Not good. I'm going to gently retreat this little fellow back to somewhere where he has lived and cared for, and not threatened by mean, nasty Anglo-Saxon Viking barbarians.
I'm gonna take him.
Oh, that was not good. Okay.
The king's moving off his throne.
Here comes the king. Okay. Okay. We're going to try this. You know, boldness and stupidity are closely allied.
Okay. I'm gonna move him to there.
And the king is on the move. Just going to shut off that little escape route. Not good. Oh, that is not my piece. Oh, well, I think I have just lost. That's not good. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Bravery points?
He showed up.
There you go.
King's out.
Nice. Good job.
All right. So, from what I'm seeing here, I think that the key to this game, being the escapee, is not... It's like you said, you are not trying to take pieces early. You're not just focusing on the combat necessarily. All you're really trying to do is just break open one small area. And so that's what I was trying to do this game, was just get one side of the board sort of cleared off. And then hopefully give myself just an avenue. As soon as I saw that you were sort of focused on moving everything up here, trying to pincer me in sort of on the top half or on your side of the board, I took that as an opportunity basically to just focus instead on escaping on down now to the sort of weaker side of this board.
Gotcha.
So I think it's about flexibility, which is just giving yourself options here. So I kept my king stationary intentionally, hoping that, knowing that he can only be captured on four sides, I'm not overly worried when it's sort of a slow, incremental move inward. Mm-hmm. So, because it's easy enough to at that point just find, oh, well, that side's going to be a little bit slower in moving, and then just gradually force everyone down, sort of turn after turn. Because I think I just moved everyone this way.
Yeah. So there's sort of value in waiting for the opportune moment.
Exactly.
Even though you're like... Because, well, when I look at the initial board game, I'm like, man, that king must be freaked out, because, like...
Yeah.
Because he is surrounded. Like, it hasn't been... The news has not been tightened, but, like, he's surrounded on four sides.
Yeah.
So.
Things aren't looking good for him.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm impressed by how well my cordon worked over here.
Mm-hmm.
And how it didn't work over here. And I think the key was that kind of over here, I was successfully able to restrict movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things I'm intrigued by is how, in this game, like, he can only move one square this way, and one square this way, and one square this way, right?
Right.
But he can move 5 squares this way, right?
Yeah.
And your king from here could move to either side.
Yeah.
Right? Across the whole length of the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we were talking about with this game is we wonder if that's, like, an analog to longboats.
No.
Like Viking longboats. Because, like, you can travel a really long distance really fast.
Yeah.
But only along rivers. So, like, you can travel really far, but only
where there's somewhere with a strong directional current to take you there. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's kind of weird to play a game where like you cannot even move one square diagonally, but you can move an infinite number of squares straight. So,
and the other thing that I think is interesting is a lot of games force you into focusing on the occupied space, and that might be more the case for the attacker because you're looking to say pin one guy in and say, what can I do to make sure that he stays in this area? As the escapee, all you're really looking for is you're focusing on the space where things aren't. Because you're looking just for the fastest pathways. So you're looking for what the enemy is giving you. So you're looking and saying, okay, I've got a road here, and then I've got a swift couple of moves that way with nothing to stop me, as long as he doesn't move anything into these corridors.
Yeah.
So it's more of a negative space game in a way, which is interesting because it's not something you see. It's definitely not something that's really used in modern board gaming.
Huh.
It's all about where things are and controlling your areas. This is about being able to see where someone isn't, which is a strange way of putting it.
Well, yeah, because the space where something isn't, like there's nothing there, so you wouldn't notice it, right? But this sort of like trains you maybe to look for that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like the two sides are like the yin and yang of board gaming, right? Like the space you control and the space where there is and the space where there is not. You know, the Zen of Hnefatafl.
Say that 5 times fast.
The Zen of Hnefatafl.
I can't even say Hnefatafl once.
I know, right? Yeah. See, I keep saying Hnefatafl, and this one is Hnefatafl, and I swear when I look it up online, it's Hnefatafl.
That's the most common version I've seen.
Hnefatafl?
The name supposedly means King's Table. So how do you think it compares to modern games?
It's interesting, right? Because so many of the older games like chess and whatnot are considered to be perfect games. Personally, I have never been a huge fan of chess just because it is at this point somewhat of a solved puzzle. When you get to the higher levels, there are moves that you make to start, and then your opponent, if he's good, it's just about knowing the proper response to it. So it's almost like it's less that you're playing this strategic game and more like you're just doing a dance competition, which is you know all the steps, you know where you're supposed to be, and it's just about who can execute that step appropriately and who does it and who can remember where they're supposed to be. This game is interesting because, like I said, from what I'm seeing, I haven't seen a dominant strategy come up, and this is, to me, having an asymmetric board, having something that separates one side from the other. I love asymmetric games in modern board gaming. I love it when you can do something your opponent can't, because it gives you this entirely different axis that you're operating on. In this game, it does it really simply just by changing the numbers around. So instead of having equal numbers, you've got a disparate amount of numbers and one guy who has a different capture rule, which is, the king. So it's harder to get him. So he's more, theoretically, a little bit more maneuverable, but you also have to be wary of it because that is your loss condition. So that's interesting to me, is that it's taken sort of this modern thing, which is asymmetric gameplay, which has been one of the big developments and push in modern games, is to have games where everyone's doing something a little bit different, everyone feels unique, everyone feels like they can attack on a different axis if that's what they want to be doing, or at least that they can perform things in a slightly different way to throw someone off. This game is doing that entirely without having to introduce complicated new mechanics or implement, there's hugely different rules for this guy or that guy or this guy. So unlike in chess even, where every piece does something different, this one's just everyone can move in infinite direction. This guy's just a little harder to get. So to me, that's really interesting, that it's able to do something that modern board gaming took a long time to come around to, and do it with such a small tweak, just in changing the amount of pieces that one player has and in determining sort of the starting location as well, because that's integral to have. By concentrating everyone at the beginning, it's about opening your space up.
Yeah.
So that there are more of those spots where pieces aren't.
Yeah, where there's more maneuverability.
Exactly. So you're trying to get more flexibility for your guys, whereas you are focused on minimizing flexibility almost. You're basically just regimentally moving things in a way that boxes someone in. So that's really interesting to me, in that there's that huge of a difference in, in a game this old.
That's a really interesting commentary. Like one of the things that we talk about a lot on our channel is ancient arts and crafts and manufacturing, right? And how modern solutions lend us lots of advantages, but how often when you go back and find sort of the origins of an art or craft, you can it yields insights that in some cases are as good or better at least in a certain sphere, and sometimes overall than modern solutions, let's say, right? And so it's really interesting to hear that asymmetric gameplay is making its way into board games now.
Yeah.
Right, and how it's a built-in feature of this old game, right? And chess is pretty old too, and it's symmetric, right? But it's just interesting to see that ancient board game that has that concept that has now been rediscovered.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we just finished playing Hnefatafl,
the Viking game,
the waffle game. We just finished playing the Viking game, Viking chess. And Tom has successfully moved his king to the corner of the board. He's escaped. Fortunately, my soldiers can console themselves by massacring about a dozen more soldiers on the battlefield before the day's over. So my soldiers are going home with a consolation prize, and the king is going home with his life. So I guess that's a decent game.
Yeah, you guys get a toaster oven, and I get to live.
If you also want to play Hnefatafl, we put a link in the video description to an Amazon affiliate page where you can buy a copy of this game for yourself. If you use that link and make purchases through that link, then a small portion of the proceeds go to support our channel so that we can make more awesome videos like this one. This was a lot of fun, and a big thanks to Tom of Dog and Thimble for coming and playing Hnefatafl with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and give us a subscribe and hit the alert button so that you'll see when we make more videos about Viking games and other fun things.